the Mint Door Podcast with Dr. Karen Tyndall and Dr. Laura Schwint. Are you tired of the burnout cycle? Well, it's time to serve sustainably without sacrificing your well-being. The Mint Door's Elite Performance Coaching can help you cultivate a holistic approach to your well-being, enhance your leadership and self-mastery skills, and optimize your life for successful personal and professional fulfillment.
So don't put your true best self potential on hold any longer. Begin now by scheduling a complimentary Minty Moment Impact Chat and embody your radiance today. Now, welcome to the Mint Door Podcast.
Yeah. Practice owners, let's talk growth. But not the kind that feels like throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that something sticks. We're talking predictable, sustainable growth that brings in the right patients without burning out your front desk team. Does that sound too good to be true?
What if your marketing partner was so confident in getting you results they actually guaranteed it? What if the risk shifted entirely away from you?
Well, get ready, because our guest today is flipping the script on dental marketing. He's Brett Allen, the co-founder and CEO of Marketing 32. And they are making waves as the only dental marketing team bold enough, confident enough to stand behind their process with an industry-leading performance guarantee that you need to hear. You grow or you don't pay, period.
So after fueling the growth of over 240 practices across the US, Canada, and Australia with their proven practice impact formula, Brett understands how to create predictable results and fill your chairs, all while streamlining, not stressing, your internal systems.
That's right. So if you're ready to ditch the marketing guesswork and unlock a proven path to practice growth, you're in the right place. Prepare to be inspired and rethink what's possible. Welcome once again to the Mint Door Podcast. Listeners, we are excited today to bring you Brett Allen. Brett is the co-founder and CEO of Marketing 32, which, that is a great name, Marketing 32. And we're super excited to have you here. Brett, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This will be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. And so 32 does have something to do with teeth, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. You'd be surprised how many times I get asked, what's the number 32 for? And I'm like, oh, dentist, so you're supposed to know that. Yeah.
Well, I got it. So
okay, good. You passed.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're super excited to learn more about you today.
Yeah, excited to be here and to share and tell more about our team and what we do and all the things.
Awesome.
Well, in our introduction, we alluded to the fact that you have a bold guarantee. And we would love to know that how do you clearly show your clients that the marketing that you provided directly grew their production? How does it work?
Yeah, great question. I get asked this a lot because it is a bold guarantee. And I think it's unique for the industry that we promise to help you grow or we don't get paid. That's our guarantee. Obviously, we don't work with everybody. We try to find those practices that we know we can really demonstrate value and help them grow. Not only just by looking at some things internal to the practice, we have some metrics and questions around that, but we also look at the market. So we do some market analysis to make sure that competition signals and other things in the market really fit well for our process that we know we can deliver. So that's the first and foremost is we try to qualify and make sure we're a good fit. Second, how do we actually demonstrate that value and prove it? We've got some unique tools that integrate with the practice management software. And so we can see from on the marketing side, the leads that we're generating, the ads we're running, or the traffic we're driving, or the improvement in visibility on Google. We can measure all of that. then that goes into our call tracking software, which we call CallCat, which I think we'll talk about later in the program. But that software allows us to see which leads of ours actually are generated by us and then also are scheduling. And then due to the integration of the practice management software that we have, we can then track internal to the practice, did that patient actually show up and did they move forward with treatment? So yeah, it's pretty exciting that we have that capability and we can truly demonstrate, okay, if we spent this much on marketing, how much actually came from that? And so that's really how it's done.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I love, and Laura does too, listening to like real life examples. Do you have like one that you could share with us of how this worked for someone?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of different practices. We've worked with over let's see, 7 years now. I don't even keep track, but I know we're working with currently about 100 practices. I think we're a little over 240 if I'm clear, but yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that we integrate and work with the practice. We do both internal and external marketing.
Mhm.
And so a lot of those do different things for the practice. But if I could share anything, I think our best case study is Dr. Aaron Jazorski out of Phoenix, Arizona. He now has 4 practices that we're working with. But we started with him in 2019, and I think at the time he was doing about 100 new patients a month. They're well over now 250 new patients a month, significantly grown that. And that's just one of their locations. He's since added those 3 others, but when we started, we were just at one. And so, yeah, there's a lot of ways that we've done that, mostly with Google Ads and search engine optimization. Um, there's a lot that goes into that we get really technical about, but yeah, I think proving that growth is fun. And so to show him that we've helped double his practice
Mm.
and not only just with new patients, but also internal patients, getting them back. We'll talk more about pipeline, but that's our texting tool and team that we've developed to help get patients back into the practice. And so that attributes to that as well. But that's just one example. There's a bunch. Yeah.
That's great. That's a big improvement. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. He's more entrepreneurial minded too, which is why he now has 4 locations. A lot
Mhm.
of there's different docs and different types throughout the industry, but yeah, it's fun when you get one that's really excited about growth and wants to just do more and more and more and more and more. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and I love something that you said there about really making sure you're a good fit with your doctors. And maybe just touch on that a little bit because I think that that is really important to practices as well, knowing that that you feel that you're a good fit for them. So how touch on a little bit about why that's so important to you.
Yeah, so it wasn't always that way. When we first started, we were just anybody and anybody who wanted help with marketing. Let's go, let's do this. And we quickly realized that there's this subset of dentists that we really resonate, like our team just really jives well with them and we connect well with them. And so really kind of the qualifying factors that we're looking for is usually a practice that has been in business for a while, so a few years at least at a minimum. We feel that having time under your belt and experience, you really kind of get through the challenges of a startup. And so usually in the beginning, there's a lot that you have to manage with developing a team, figuring out processes for your practice, connecting well with your market and your community. And while there's marketing companies out there that do that, we don't specialize in the startup space. We like to find those docs that are typically in momentum, really just wanting to take things to the next level. Usually business minded, more so than clinical minded, that kind of practice owner. Um, Usually tends to jive well with our team because we really geek out on the numbers and we really try to hone in on how can we help not only drive new patients, but also help the practice internally convert those patients. And I think there's some marketing companies out there that don't focus on that internal piece. They just want to generate calls. And so we really try to get integrated. And so, yeah, on our discovery call, we'll ask you a number of questions to really dig into. Okay, are we organized? Do we know our numbers? Is the patient experience really dialed in?
Mm.
How many ops do you have? Do you have room for more new patients? A lot of times, dentists turn to marketing for growth, and if your schedule's booked out for a whole month, that's going to be challenging for the marketing company to convert patients who don't want to wait a month, right?
Mm.
So there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, that hopefully that answers your question.
Mm. Yeah. That's really good, and I like how you say when you're a good fit, the team is excited, and I think that really enhances the overall feel that the office probably gets from you, right? As far as what you're delivering for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not a set it and forget it team where you just, hire a marketing company and just pay them every month. We really do become integral to the practice. We meet monthly, some in the beginning weekly to make sure we're on the same page with everything and handing off patients the right way, that we're all, aligned on what kind of offers we're running. And there's quite a bit that we do internal to help with conversions at the front desk. So a big part of our process is working closely with the front desk so that we're converting the calls that we're generating. Yeah.
Mm, that's awesome. You mentioned the front desk, and that leads me to, another thing that you talk about is you track this ROI and the production that comes from the marketing, but you're big on you're not going to give the front desk a bunch of extra work. So how does
Yeah.
that, because I can imagine that the front desk is hearing this going, uh-oh.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the front desk is an interesting component to the practice. And so our pipeline team, that's really where we connect well with the front desk, is we help alleviate a lot of the follow-up that's required to get these patients booked.
Mhm.
So we do a lot through text marketing and follow up with that team and that process that we have. And so and since I talked about integration with the practice management software, we can see the open spots in their schedule, and we can fill those if we're involved with on the pipeline side of things.
Mm.
So yeah.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
all of these things we developed over the last 7 years have been pain points that we've experienced with working with clients. And so it's like, in the beginning, we would drive a lot of calls, and then some of our clients would cancel and be like, "Why are you canceling? It's like 70 calls that we drove last month."
Mm.
And we dig into the weeds and we find out, well, we actually have one client that had 90% of those calls going to voicemail.
Oh.
And so it's like, man, we need to track these calls better. So we built CallCat, which is an AI platform that tracks all the calls, and we can kind of, if a patient's not scheduling, we got different buckets that it gets categorized into as to why that patient's not scheduling. And so that, like I said, and then we found out Dr. Jaworski, the one I was telling you about, um, we noticed that he had this huge patient database. And so it's like, are you doing any marketing to that patient list? And he's like, other than a recall reminder every year that it's time for your annual cleaning, no, we're not really doing anything. And so we developed text marketing processes and offers that reach out to patients once a quarter to get them back in the chair. And that really generated a lot of growth for him. And so, yeah, we just find needs and we try our best to help and leverage those needs for improving the marketing. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I love that name, Call Cat.
Yeah.
Um, d- Tell me where the cat comes into the call.
Yeah. So in the beginning, so Jeff, my business partner, he's the one who developed it in the beginning, and built it. We have another developer he worked closely with to build it. But yeah, the name in the beginning was call categorization.
Mm.
So it was because it would categorize the calls. So it would read the transcripts of the calls and then it would categorize them into different categories. And so we're just trying to, from a branding standpoint, like what's a catchy name? Call cat. So that's how we came up with that. Yeah.
Do you have a mascot? Is he a cat?
We should create a little logo for it. Yeah. We don't, but yeah.
I see a logo for the Call Cat in the future.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It would be good. So, I mean, there are so many different pieces to this puzzle,
Yeah.
of it all coming together from so many different angles to bring these results. And
Yeah.
if somebody's listening, what do you think is the most crucial number that practices should be tracking to know that their
Ooh.
marketing is really boosting production?
Um, Good question, because a lot of times practices don't know the numbers. They don't even know when they're working with a marketing company. We're talking with them. We say, well, how much are you spending on the ads? How much are you spending on marketing? They typically know that number, but then when we ask them how many appointments are you getting from that, it kind of falls off. They might have an idea. They might attribute all new patients to the marketing company, which is not accurate to do because you do get referrals and you do get organic traffic that would have found you regardless of how much you're spending on ads.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a great question to ask. I think cost per booked patient is a really good one, because that really then tells you, okay, if I'm getting each patient for $100, then I know what ROI I can expect based on my average treatment that I'm getting from these new patients. So I think I would stick with cost per book patient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
love how, and I'd never even thought about it, that I think I would have been in that category of I paid for whatever marketing and this is how my revenue has changed as a result of that. I would never have been separating things out into, well, that might have happened anyway. This has happened as a direct result. And so
Yes.
to
Yeah.
divide these things up is so much more insight for people.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, and this is something we're trying to change about the industry, I think, unfortunately, that's where marketing gets a bad rap. There's a lot of marketing companies out there that don't focus on that, and they may focus on the number of calls they generate, but they don't truly get into the weeds of the ROI of the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then dentists are left confused around, well, I'm spending this money, but I'm not seeing the growth, and they can't pinpoint exactly why the marketing company's not, maybe it's not working. So we really try to get into the weeds of like, if it's working, let's do more of that. And if it's not working, how can we fix it? Because we're on the hook.
Mhm.
If we're not helping you grow, then we don't win either. And so that's a big focus
Mm-hmm.
for us.
Just listening to that, having had a practice just puts my mind at ease. Just listening, like I feel like you guys have really over the years developed all of these tools and insights into how to really be of great service to your clients and take some of that because we didn't go to school for this. We don't understand all of the ins and outs of this. Plus, during the day we're seeing patients, right? So it's kind of like, where do you find the time to analyze this? But it looks like you guys kind of really take that on and kind of unburden your practices a little bit with some of that.
Yeah.
And you have something called the practice impact formula. We love formulas. So maybe you can allude to a little bit of how that brings some predictability into your realm.
Yeah. So we have kind of a roadmap that we've developed of like, you know, the practice impact formula is clearly a roadmap. So in the first 30 days, what is it that we need to be doing to demonstrate value so that we have a win right out of the gate? How can we get positive ROI? The next 30 to 90 days, there's another set of things that we're looking for to happen to prove the marketing further so that we can get to a point after 90 days that we can scale it. And so, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but really the two areas that we focus on in dentistry are really the only two ways that you can grow. And the first is, how do we make more per patient? So we do have a part of our process that gets integral with the practice, and we dig into some numbers to see how many patients do we have on the list, how many of them are coming back, what's our typical lifetime value of the patient, and what can we do to improve those. Pipeline being one of those, and we can talk more about that, but that's our texting team. External to the practice, and that's the other side of the equation that we look at, is how do we get more new patients in the practice? How do we grow market awareness? How do we get more people calling? And there's a lot of different things that we do to do that, but it's mostly online marketing for that. So we can track it all. We've got data. We can prove the cost all of that. And so, yeah, how do we make more per patient and how do we get more patients into the practice? That's really what it comes down to with the practice impact formula.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So you've been alluding to your pipeline, and so describe your pipeline and how that works, what it is, and the value of that for your clients.
I love this part of our team. Our team members that are on pipeline, I think we have 7 now involved with that. Our pipeline manager, she was once a hygienist, so she comes with background in the industry. But really, what it is a need that we noticed in the practice to leverage that patient list.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 4 years now since we started that, but about 4 years ago, we noticed with Dr. Jaworski that he had this big patient list, wasn't doing any kind of marketing towards it. And so we decided to do a texting campaign where we did a texting offer to those patients.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got significant impact from that. I think in the first week, we had a $56,000 smile makeover case that he generated out of his patient list. And we've got a number of these stories like that. There was another doctor we were working with, Dr. Fulcher, who has both a GP practice, but also an implant center right next to it. Mm-hmm. In his first month of running that, we generated over 200,000 in production from his list. And so there's a lot of hidden production with these relationships that you've developed. Mm-hmm. And so as long as you're sending out the right offer regularly, you can mix it up. Of course, we've developed a number of different offers for end of the year, back to school, Valentine's, smile makeovers. That's a big one. Invisalign. That's another good one. So with pipeline, what we do is our team works with the practice to come up with an offer, one that they feel is they can fulfill on. And then we basically segment the list to try and find patients that we think would be high converting patients. Sometimes we can do unscheduled treatment campaigns to get those patients back in, but we send it out. And then I think that's where most practices miss the mark, because they may have a texting tool that does a big bulk text. But if you don't have a team member that's consistently monitoring the replies and doing that follow-up that's required to get a patient booked and moving forward, then really you're missing probably 60 to 70% of where the results come from.
Wow.
Yeah. So just sending out an offer, great. That's the first step, but you've got to really have the right offer, and you have to have a team member that can quickly respond to these patients. And then usually sometimes we have to follow up 4 to 5 times with a patient that said, yes, I'm interested. And so Sally at the front desk or somebody on your team who's doing this type of effort, if it's not their primary thing that they're doing and they don't have a clear process around it, you might miss some of these patients and they might fall off your radar because they haven't responded. Because a lot of times what happens is we'll send this out, patients will say, yes, I'm interested in that. Mm-hmm. And then our team will reply and say, okay, great, let's get you scheduled. And then crickets, right? Because either they got busy or whatever, life happens. And so oftentimes that's where the practice just leaves it. And there's not that second, third, fourth follow-up that typically gets lost. And so our team does all of that. It integrates with the practice management software. We see those open spots, and we help craft the offer. We manage all of it for you. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. We think so too.
Well, and I love that because, as a dental office, you may come across something new that you're doing, a new way of doing things, or you may shift your focus and what you're focusing on. And a lot of times your patients don't necessarily know that. Your existing patients,
Yeah.
And or that you have something that you want to share with them. And then, yeah, you're so right. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I just got a text the other day from my eye doctor about, making sure I follow up, and I haven't yet. I kind of forgot about it. And so I'm probably one of those people that needs that second little reminder, like, oh yeah, that's right, I do need to follow up.
Yeah, appointment reminders are great, and we love those, and that's what most practices have in place. They have some kind of software, Solution Reach, Revenue Well. There's a bunch of them out there that will do that, but there's not a lot of practices that are doing once a quarter offers to their list of that. Like you said, they don't. A lot of times, patients don't realize that the doctor can help them with sleep apnea,
Mm-hmm.
or if they've had Invisalign, they don't think to then offer it to their extended family. So we have some offers where it encourages existing Invisalign patients to then recommend friends and family into the practice. So yeah, there's a lot that you can do with texting. And the cool thing is, I don't know about you guys, but I have like 10,000 unread emails. But if you look at my text, let's just pull it up real quick. I only have 2 unread text messages. Mm-hmm. So we pay attention to our texts and we respond. And so yeah, the texting is a great way to market to your patients.
Mm. It sounds like you've thought of everything, and I love that about how you have really listened to your clients over the years and really focused on how can you answer this pain point, how can you enhance your services with this pain point. You have an offer for a discovery call on your website, and I think that it comes with $500 off the pipeline service. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is unique to your audience. We've done this with some other partnerships that we've worked with before, but yeah, so if you just go to our website, it's not going to say anything about that. But if you do schedule a call and you talk with Brax on our team, just mention that you came from the Mint Door, and you'd love to try the pipeline offer out. He'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's super kind. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, happy to help.
fantastic. So tell us, yeah, someone's listening and they're curious. They're like, "Ooh, this sounds really good. This, these guys sound like a good fit for me." Walk us through the steps. I mean, obviously your website probably has a lot of great information, which is marketing32.com, which we'll put in the show notes. Don't worry. But walk us through. I'm calling you up. I'm interested. What do we do?
Yeah, so head over to marketing32.com. There's a couple of buttons you can just click on to book a discovery call. You can pick a time with Brax on our team. He's also very well experienced in the dental industry. He's been working for 6 years in the industry, specifically with implants. So he used to be an implant industry, doing all of the abutments and things like that. Worked with a number of different implant companies, but yeah, so on that call, Brax will ask you a number of different questions to figure out more about your practice, make sure we're a good fit. From there, if we both feel like it's a great fit, then really it's getting started. So we have an onboarding call and where we introduce you to everybody on our team who will be working directly with you. We'll go over the game plan, review what offers and things like that we want to do. And then from there, we launch. Usually it's about a week after onboarding that everything goes live. Depending if we're building a new website, that typically takes a month to 2 months to dial that in. But yeah, at the end of that first month, we'll review with you the results. We'll dig into what production was generated. And then from there, we'll just continue to work on scaling and doing more. So yeah, that's a quick overview of everything. But yeah, there's quite a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot of nuance to it. But yeah, we try to hold your hand as best we can through the process.
Sounds easy and relatively quick from call to launch. Sounds like it doesn't take unless you're building a website, of course, doesn't take too much time.
Yeah, we try to get quick wins. We want to prove the value and make sure that you're thrilled to be working with us. We typically limit one onboarding per week also, so we're trying to make sure that we're growing and not having the wheels fall off in the experience. But so that also plays into it. So depending on how that call goes with Brax, and if you want to get started, we'll kind of review when we can slot you in and get you started.
That's fantastic. Wow. Well, this has been enlightening, and it's just so fun to see how passionate you are about doing this marketing and really hitting all those buckets, the call cat, the pipeline, the the texting, and working for the practice to help them see results from, this effort that you're putting in. Is there anything else really important that you want doctors to know about marketing, especially, in light of how you guys do it?
That's a great question. Just realize that this is a dance you're doing. It takes two to tango, right? You can't just call a marketing company and set it and forget it. You've really got to get integrated with them, and they really need to help you understand the numbers of everything and make sure that things are working. There's too many times that we just set it and forget it, and we don't know, and I don't know what's going on with my marketing. That's not a place you want to be. And so if you're in that boat with your marketing company, I would recommend setting up a call with them and saying, let's get into this a little bit more. And can you help me understand cost per booked patient? Can you help me understand cost per booking, or cost per call? And then ultimately, if they don't have that second piece of the equation where we're proving production generated, maybe you can take some of that data that they have and then do some manual polls on your side to look at the patients that they're claiming they generated to what production came from it. And then you can make that ROI work. But yeah, that would be my recommendation. Really try to understand what the marketing is doing for your practice.
It sounds like the more you understand that, probably the better your marketing can work for you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, we appreciate the time you took with us today to kind of uncover some of this nuances of marketing, and appreciate how well you're serving your clients. Thanks so much for being with us on the Mint Door podcast today, Brett.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Karen. It's been fun. Thank you.
Yeah. And listeners, we will have our links below. So check out Brett and marketing32.com and just see how they're shaking up the profession and making sure that you're getting what you want from your marketing company. Awesome. Listeners, we know that we adore you, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Mint Door podcast. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and subscribe for more holistic performance content.